August 11th, 2012, Saturday. At 0700, Connors entered the common room to find most of first team already milling about. "Good morning. Is everyone up?" he asked. "Everyone but she," Darkspeed answered. "She's up. She just hasn't left her room yet," Virtuoso said. "Okay, I'm going back upstairs. I still have a lot of stuff to pack up." "Sorry," Virtuoso said. "Don't be sorry. These dorms weren't built for me. Make sure she gets to breakfast." Connors turned and left. She heard Connors leave. She had been waiting for him to leave. She walked out of her room in her new, sleek black uniform. "Wow, that's cool," Bioforce said. "Is that new nano thing suit?" Olympian asked. "Yeah, so what do you guys think?" She said. "Does it feel tight?" Midas asked. "No, it feels perfect, like pajamas." "Why, does it look tight?" She asked. "Well, Connors might think it's tight." "Is that why you waited for him to leave before you came out?" Darkspeed asked. "Maybe," she said. "If that's why, put it away. Trust me on this," Virtuoso said. "How long will it take to make 5 more of those?" "A day, maybe 36 hours. Why?" "If we all wear them Monday morning and make a case that they're a better suit, maybe we can convince him to change over to these." "Sorry, I can't wear anything that tight looking," Midas said. "Why not?" she asked. "Because I would feel like I'm wearing tights all the time." "Well, I guess we could change it some." "How?" Olympian asked. "We could add armor plates, or loosen the fabric, or break it up with different colors, or—" She was cut off. "Could you add a cape?" Olympian asked. "What color?" Virtuoso asked. "Why?" she asked. "Red. And I'm not a stealth. I can have a cape. I want a big red Spartan-style cape. I want it to be able to stretch and be fire and bulletproof," Olympian said excitedly. "Why?" she asked again. "If I am to help people, other than just fighting, I'll need tools. A cape that can stretch to hold 10 people while I'm flying and protect them would be a great asset." "I see," she responded. "I'll work with the other brains to get some kind of idea how long this would take. If you get pressed for time, I could help," Midas offered. "Thanks, we might need the help. You'd better get changed so we can go to breakfast. Never alone, remember?" Darkspeed said. At 0800, first team gathered with the other alphas to break up into enrichment classes. Miss Lee, the academic for the 5th team, came forward first. She called all the alphas that were interested in computer systems and security to come forward. Virtuoso left first team to meet with several other brains who were interested in that subject. Once no one else came forward, the group walked into the academic building. Professor Brown, 2nd team academic, came forward next. He was a heavy, bald man with a superior demeanor. His call was for all those who were to study sparrows and anti-gravity. She left her team to join his group. Midas went with Mindscan, a pretty Polish woman. She was the 3rd academic, and today she was teaching bots an overview. Olympian was quick to join Coach Connors for his hand-to-hand combat class. Most of the hitters did. Olympian wondered if he would teach something different than he did during the week. Miss Munoz, 4th academic from Peru, was teaching responding to emergencies. Bioforce was happy to see the longtime veteran teaching the class. She knew from her daily specialties that Miss Munoz was also a healer, and the class would be from her perspective. Darkspeed waited until someone called out hostage negotiations. He was pleasantly surprised to see that it was Dr. DeClute who would be delivering the class. At 14:30, the last of the students and coaches' effects were removed from the building. Alphas and coaches from other teams kept handing Virtuoso updated pictures of what they wanted their rooms to look like. Finally, she asked for someone else to keep track of the new room requests. Olympian assumed the task of keeping people away from Virtuoso and Midas as they readied for the task at hand. His instructions were simple. Write your name and comments on the back of your photos, or he wouldn't take them. Virtuoso watched with curiosity as Connors removed only one large crate from his room. He didn't say anything. He just flew out of his skylight to the academic building and returned quickly. "I think everyone is done," Connors said to Virtuoso. "Does anyone have anything else to get out of the dorm?" He looked around at everyone there. "Coaches, check with your team." The coaches all responded to Connors with the negative. "Virtuoso, I think you have a go." Connors stepped away from Virtuoso, and Midas stepped up behind her. "You mean we're a go? I do the work. Why don't I get any credit?" "The architect always gets the credit. Didn't your dad teach you that?" Virtuoso said with a smile to Midas. "Yeah, but the builder at least gets paid. You have everything?" "I do." Virtuoso picked up her laptop and a bag of material samples. She had gathered samples of everything she would need Midas to make. "Then we should get started?" Midas touched the ground, and under them a round metal platform with railings formed. He was now standing with his hands on the railing. 2 chairs formed up, one for him and one for Virtuoso. As he sat, handlebars extended from the railing to keep contact with his hands. "Fancy," Virtuoso said as she sat next to him. The platform raised on a pillar to gain a bird's eye view of the dorm building. Midas closed his eyes and reached out with his power. He could feel through his hands, through his platform, into the ground and into the building. Virtuoso listened to his thoughts and saw what he saw. She marveled at how comfortable he had become with his powers. Midas had now connected with everything from the refrigeration system in the cafeteria to the paint on the walls. He was ready to make whatever changes they needed. Connors was watching on, taking everything in. He needed to know how his choice for anchor was coming along with his powers. The rest of First Team was also looking on intently. Other teams sat around and the scene took on a picnic-type atmosphere. Most were laughing and talking about their week. Then Saber came to stand next to Connors. "His power is magnificent. I think the others here underrate your anchor." "Thanks for the vote of confidence," Connors said without looking over to Saber. "I know our anchor and others like to compare Midas to Ion. They all say what a combat machine Ion is. I say Ion can only defeat an enemy. Midas is the one who has the power to build the future." Connors stopped looking at his team and turned to look closely at Saber. "The power to build the future? That's exactly what I wrote about him in my files. It's very insightful for you to think so. In my home in Dubai, our government had money from oil and they had the choice of how to spend it. Many governments in the region spend their money on military hardware and soldiers. Our leaders decided to build a better future. Our city is now #1 in the world because we built like your anchor here." Connors nodded while listening to him. "So you've seen this lesson of building the future as you grew up?" "Yes. The oil provided many in the region the choice of what they wanted. Military might or building the future. Ion and Midas would be the same choices, combat or building." Connors was now rethinking what he thought of this young man. "How are you doing with your coach and your team?" Midas was now moving things out of the building he didn't want to recreate. "What are you doing?" Virtuoso thought to Midas. "I'm getting stuff out of the building that would take too much time to recreate. Stuff like computerized thermostats, refrigeration controllers, circuit boards on washers and dryers, or anything really complex." "Good idea. We can just reincorporate it at the end." "Who's we? You got a mouse in your pocket?" "Don't get touchy, you know what I mean." Saber was now fully engaged in conversation with Connors. "My teammates are ready to fight and are capable. The only problem is that they will fight with each other too. How's Shroud doing?" Connors waited to see how he would answer the question. "There are no problems with Shroud's capabilities. She's what a stealth should be, both in power and in training. The problem is I have 4 team members that get along and one that is the odd person out. So how do you fix that?" Saber laughed. "Since Jews and Arabs have existed, this has been a problem. You want me to solve it?" Connors looked off at his 2 team members working, and his thoughts wandered to his own past. "Saber, no one gets to choose the burdens they have to bear. Once you accept that, you can start moving on to dealing with them. You sound like my father. He said something like that when he sent me here. You didn't volunteer? My father had my twin brother and I compete to see who would come here and who would stay home." "Your twin?" "Yes. We look identical, but our powers are not. So you won and your father sent you here." Saber made a broad, sad smile. "I lost and came here. My brother and I look alike and think alike, but his powers are greater. Well, I'm happy you came here. Has your coach given you any insight in how to deal with your team?" "No. He was an anchor on his team. I think he too is just learning how to lead." Connors nodded. "Inferno was a powerful anchor on the Sydney team. I'll talk to him and see if I can help, okay? Any help would be appreciated. One piece of advice for you. No matter what your feelings are, you are always a team leader first, and your teammates, all of them, are your responsibility. If you can't put them ahead of yourself, you need to reevaluate yourself or step down." "I can't step down." "Sure you could. You could always be anchor." Saber shook his head. "Then who would be leader?" "No one else on my team could do it. No, I have to be leader.